Welcome, everyone, to the Brady Breakdown. We are talking Survivor Season 50, Episode 12, titled Inconceivable. And it is an inconceivable ending here on this episode. My name is Justin, and I'm here with my co-host, Rachelle. How are you doing today, Rachelle?
I am so happy to be here talking about episode 12, the double episode.
Yeah, the penultimate episode to the season.
So for any of us who've been around to see all, to have been around during the time of all 50 episodes, anytime you say inconceivable, the only thing we think of is The Princess Bride.
Princess
Am I right?
Bride. Yep, that was a great tie-in there. So it is a double episode. Double elimination is what we get out of episode 12. Two crazy challenges and some reward drama and some legends go home. So it's interesting. It's fun. It's Survivor Season 50.
Yeah.
So we got the emotional aftermath from Ozzy's exit, his votes off the island last episode. People are shifting loyalties. Rizzo, Ozzy, and Cirie were in an alliance from the beginning, pretty much,
tight.
and now he's gone. So things got to change. There's some more talk about letters from home and kind of how that affects them even the next day, a couple days later, actually. So we'll start off with the first immunity challenge. They did this one a couple seasons ago where they have to, there's the platform that's kind of wobbly and there's a rope attached to it, and they have to go, 20 yards or so, 30 yards, carrying 7 blocks that spell the word immunity, place each one and go back and forth. And it is a lot more challenging than it
On
seems.
top of each other, spelling it backwards, right? Because the last letter has to be placed first.
Right. So tricky.
It is tricky.
Yeah. And so Joe, he did this on his season, and he won it with a slow and steady style. And he took the same approach this time.
Brilliant.
Yeah. And others, I don't know if they'd done it before or had seen it happen before. They tried to rush through it, like Rick and Tiffany.
What I don't understand is after the first time when you're in a hurry, the first time your tower drops, why you still use the same strategy trying to hurry as fast as you can, because we saw them over and over again just tumble, tumble, tumble down. And meanwhile, Joe is the tortoise, and yet his stack never falls down. And Jeff is telling them the whole time, Joe's slow and steady, and everybody keeps falling down.
He's
like
totally giving them hints.
Like he's telling them exactly what they should do, which is slow down. Joe won it the last time with this strategy. He's still in the lead. Over and over, Jeff is saying this, and they're still rushing it, and their towers are still falling down. I don't get it. But kudos to Joe for not caving to the peer pressure and the rush of seeing everybody hurry. He knows what he needs to do. He knows exactly what he needs to do, and he is not influenced by anybody in this challenge. He goes very slow.
Painfully slow.
Painfully slow, because this challenge requires it.
Yeah.
This challenge requires such finesse. Any little misstep and it's going down. Your tower's going down. I mean, how they come up with these things, I don't know. But the idea of just holding this tower that can teeter-totter any which way, well, back and forth, and you have to hold the rope just right as you're walking backwards.
Through sand.
Through sand.
Yeah.
I mean, this is no easy task. And Joe, this was amazing play on Joe's part.
Yeah.
And an immunity challenge at this point in the game is absolutely critical.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Rick tried to rush through it as well. It didn't work for him. And prior to this, Joe and Rick are talking on a hammock. Rick's crying. It's like, I just want to do good, And it was interesting that Joe was the one that was there, like consoling him, basically. Oh man, no, you're good, and you'll do good. because he doesn't like Rick. They've been at odds from the beginning.
They have, but at this point in the game, there aren't that many people left to talk to. Right?
Yeah, right. So, but that was a good moment. Maybe hopefully Joe, that kind of shows who Joe is. If he was doing it sincerely, and he's just like, hey man, you're a person. I'm here for you. I want to get you out, but I'm here for you right now.
And here's the thing too. I think the more just human beings, the more we know about people, the more we empathize with them, right?
Yeah.
So it's one thing to be playing a game against someone, but in the moment of having a conversation, you can be very empathetic because you do get to know people very well when you're living with them day and night in the same tribe, in the same island. And whether you like them so much or not, you do get to know a lot about them and can empathize. And Joe is a good guy, he really is. He's sincere. I thought that was nice.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but Joe ends up winning, pulling out that challenge and getting immunity. And it's a reward challenge. So you get to go eat some barbecue ribs, which is awesome on Survivor.
One of my favorites. Yeah.
And he gets to bring 2 people with him. So he chooses Cirie and Rizzo. What do you think about those 2 picks? Because he's not in an alliance with either of them.
He is not, but he saw an opportunity because Ozzy is gone.
Hmm. Yeah.
And he says it's because Rizzo hasn't had a reward yet. And I did love that others on the tribe. I can't remember who it was, but yeah, but he did eat pretty well in the auction,
Yeah.
like it's not like he's starving over here.
Yeah, it was Jonathan and Tiffany, I think.
Yeah.
While they're back eating rice, they're like, oh, I
Yeah.
can't believe you picked those guys.
That's right.
He picked Cirie because she's been hurting, I guess.
Yeah.
Something, I don't know.
Yeah. But I think that I do give Joe credit. I think it was very intentional. He saw an opportunity with Ozzy gone. And there is no question that when you include someone in a reward with you, you gain points. And he needed to gain points.
Yeah, hopefully it works out.
Well.
But yeah, I thought it was definitely strategic. Hopefully, it seemed like they were enjoying each other's company. They were talking shop and just enjoying the food. But yeah, so that's how that played out.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
In this case, Joe he gave reasons why he would include them. And I've seen multiple times this season how people would say one thing, but really it was their reason. They were doing something for a different reason, or they didn't come clean with, they got kind of caught red-handed and they didn't just come clean. Do you think that Joe should have just said from the beginning, hey, I want to spend some time with Rizzo and Cirie, so I'm going to pick them? And
Yeah, I think he should have, yeah, because he's all about honor, integrity, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he was lying when he said those reasons,
right?
But I don't think that
it's
was
not that they were untrue.
Yeah,
they just weren't
the reasons.
Yeah. And I feel like this maybe I'm making this up, but I feel like in seasons past, you did have to kind of say that. But in this season, the culture is very much, people aren't letting you pull the wool over their eyes, right? They're much less forgiving about that. It's like, come clean and just say what it is. Like, just say what you're doing.
Yeah, that's a good point. So do you think that hurt him?
Yeah.
Later on?
Yep.
Okay.
I do.
Well, so they do that, and they come back and strategize, and then they go to tribal council. Tribal council number 1. This episode, I mean, everyone knew since Rick didn't win immunity what was going to happen. And they try to drama it up a little bit, but I wasn't buying it. And so we're kind of skipping over all the side talk. Because they go to tribal council, they vote Rick.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. He had his emotional moment in the sense that he said how much he loved the game and being under the stars and seeing the
which I thought was great. Yeah,
it was awesome. He had his moment there at the end. And I felt like, yeah, maybe he could have made another round or 2, but he wasn't making Final Four. So I think he played his game. And yeah, so it was fun having him on the show. He was very entertaining.
Yeah.
Throughout the whole thing. He was
Yep.
a good addition to this season 50, and it was his time.
Yep.
So that's all we're gonna say about that.
Next.
So then they go home and or go back to their camp, and the next day there's another challenge they had to go through. It's an intense physical obstacle course.
I like these ones.
Yeah, it
so
was.
much.
This one was fun to watch, even to the end. There's always a puzzle at the end, right? So and since there's only I think 6 at this point, not a lot. I think the strategy. Let's just back up a little bit. Before they go to the challenge, they're talking who they're going to get. We're going to vote so and so. We want to get this person out. Are you with us? Yeah. There's pretty much a general consensus, or at the very least, everyone but the person was aware of what the plan was, which was Tiffany.
Yeah.
We're going to vote Tiffany. And even Cirie, she didn't really say no, but didn't really say, yeah, let's do this, but she wasn't really saying no.
Mm-hmm.
She was like, well, it's not me, so yeah. And so the worst case scenario for them was for Tiffany to win immunity in that challenge. And they weren't going to let that happen. I gave them props. Joe and Jonathan bust out through the physical portion of this challenge. They get to the end first. It's those two, and I think Aubrey, even Rizzo was there. And I think Tiffany and Cirie brought up the back, brought up the end. But they had several minutes to spell the word in the puzzle, which is inconceivable. And they did, but not on both sides. But it took them a while to figure out how to spell it, which was interesting. I get the I before E, or E before I, or whatever, but
except after C.
yeah. So I thought that was funny. It's like, well, how do I do the E or the I? But they couldn't get it. They didn't get it. They got the one side, but then Tiffany, right after that, had both sides. So she was clearly the winner. And kudos to her, man. And then afterwards, Cirie told her, you were the plan. You were the one. But now they're going to come after me. So do you feel like Cirie was the next obvious choice?
Yeah.
Think so?
Actually, I think Cirie was the choice before Tiffany. If they picked Tiffany as the choice, it was not because of the threat. It was because they don't like her. Like, because she didn't have alliances. It was easier to pick Tiffany than Cirie. Mm-hmm. But Cirie is the bigger threat. You take Cirie with you to the final 3 and you are not winning.
Yeah, they're going to.
Yeah.
But I think it was her and Rizzo, because Rizzo had the idol. So they were trying to flesh that out. And Tiffany did have a good point. You let him go to the next, you get him past this round, he's going to play the idol the next round.
That gives him final 3.
Yeah, he's in final 4. And, he hasn't done much. So why are we going to let that? And that was his strategy last season. That's what he did last season.
Of all the contestants, if Rizzo won this season, I would have been so disappointed that the newbie wins. He was so cocky the whole time. I mean, I love confidence, but this is an extreme. You know what I mean? Like, he's so naive about, he knows a lot. I mean, he has done his homework. That is true. And there were moments where he knew more than many of the players who had played for a very long time.
Coach.
Ozzy. I mean, he's like, are you kidding me? This is like, why would you tell our whole game? You know what I mean? Yeah. He is a very knowledgeable player, but he is also, but I guess what irritates me is just be a little bit humble, maybe. Mm-hmm. I think that his confidence is to compensate for his lack of experience, right? He knows he's going up against players who've been in the game 5 and 6 times, right? That has to be intimidating. But also humility does go a long way. So I just didn't like that about him, so I did not want to see him win. Mm-hmm.
I think maybe they were thinking, well, we don't care because if he's in the final 3, no one's going to vote for him.
Well, yeah.
So, but yeah, I think he skated along pretty much all season.
Yeah.
But Tiffany over Cirie, yeah, I could see that. But I think they ended up. I've been wanting Cirie to get out since the first episode when she kind of screwed that challenge for everybody for her whole tribe. She should have gone home then.
Yeah.
Not only because of that moment where she didn't perform, but because of her clout,
Yeah.
her threat as
Yeah.
a player. So, so yeah, I didn't have a problem with them going after Cirie at this point.
What I'm very curious about is, I mean, we're not living there day to day.
Right.
And I'm very curious if, like, what is it like? Do you take into consideration how easy it is to live with people in your vote? Do you know what I mean? Do you say, I know Cirie is such a big threat, but honestly, I cannot stand so and so any longer, so they have to go.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. So like with what's her name, Chrissy.
Yeah.
They didn't seem to like her. She was too bossy or whatever.
So it's like, okay, Cirie's probably a better choice, but I cannot stand another minute.
I'm sure in some scenarios, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
It's an aspect of the game that we as the viewers don't see so much, right?
Yeah, that's true. So they were talking Cirie once Tiffany won, and Cirie was talking, well, they're coming after me. Let's try and get Aubrey out. So it did come down to either them, one of those two, as far as who they vote. And I'm surprised Rizzo flipped, because it did end up going 4-2, majority on Cirie, 2 to Aubrey. And it was Tiffany and Cirie voting Aubrey and everybody else voting Cirie. But I'm surprised Rizzo switched. I don't know. What do you think about that?
I mean, yeah.
Maybe you just saw the writing on the wall?
Yeah. And that's the thing. At this point in the game, it's really hard to vote with your alliance when your alliance is probably going to beat you. So
yeah. I mean, that's a good point, because if Rizzo goes to the end with Cirie, he ain't winning.
That's right.
He knows that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it could be. Yeah. Well,
she was a very good choice for an alliance to take him clear through the game, which is why he did it. And then now he's like, okay, well, now if I have the chance to get her out, I'm going to have to, because otherwise I won't win.
Yeah. So he benefited from Ozzy's misplay. And with them, everyone turning on Cirie at this episode. So he took advantage of that. It's pretty smart.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, he is a smart player.
Mm-hmm. Well, so 4-2 against Cirie. She goes home. A legend goes home. What do you think about her legacy?
She is. Now she has a legacy, but when she started, she was definitely an underdog, right? She's not fit. Mm-hmm. She says over and over how she was in a place where she was just sitting on the couch doing nothing, and Survivor brought her out of that, and she challenged herself in ways that she never thought she could do. You know what I mean? So I love that about people. I think it's really great when you hear someone stepping very much outside their comfort zone to do something very difficult, and Survivor is very difficult. Mm-hmm. I mean, whether you love reality TV or whether you don't, staying on an island with, were there like 40 different people on this?
I think there was 25 this time.
25.
But usually it's like 18 or so.
I mean, so many different personalities. You're living with them day and night. You're sleeping with them. There is no privacy. And very little food. So your basic needs are not met. This is a hard, challenging thing to do. So I do give her kudos for going for it, and she's done it like 6 times?
I think at least 5. I don't know if this was her 5th or she'd done it 5, but yeah.
And that's tremendous. And I do think it's great that she has stepped out of her comfort zone that many times. Now, I mean, now she knows what to expect and so forth. So, and she has gotten quite a bit of celebrity from playing the game. So she knows what it earns her. And, any of these players who don't win, don't go home empty-handed, of course, right?
Yeah.
So it is a job, but it's a hard job nonetheless. And I do love to see that she has done it.
Yeah. Definitely kudos to her
Mm-hmm.
for her gameplay over
Yeah.
and over each season that she's been on. So, but yeah, a legend goes home. We got Aubrey, Jonathan, Joe, and Rizzo left for the final episode coming up that we'll talk about next time. Well, it's been a fun season. Before we talk
Phenomenal.
about the finale, it's been a fun season. A lot of great twists, a lot of things that fell flat. But I think overall, a great season so far. What about MVP for this double episode?
Okay, Joe.
Okay.
Joe, because, well, I guess Joe in the first segment, right? Going against the grain, really doing his best to win that immunity challenge. That was stellar, and I thought it was play of the game.
Yeah.
Play of the day.
Play of the day for Joe. My MVP is Tiffany. She won. Everyone was gunning for her. She didn't. I don't think she knew until after the fact. But regardless, she stepped it up. She was like in 5th place or so, and she ended up pulling it out and winning. That's MVP. And then she was safe for the rest of the day.
Which, both of us picking someone who won the immunity challenge, just the 2 different immunity challenges, what that tells us is just how critical these immunity challenges are.
In these final episodes.
Especially in the final episodes, but throughout the whole game, they take grit, they take intelligence, they're very mental challenges. Even the physical ones are very mental, right? Yeah. They are built to be testing not only your physical ability, but actually more so your mental ability. Can you tell your body it can do what it's being asked to do? And can you plan a strategy for yourself? I did think it was really interesting how we heard from the players in sort of behind the scenes discussions how long they have to understand the challenge, to talk about the rules, to ask questions about it. I heard that it's like an hour that they can ask questions, what they're run through, they're shown what they need to do. So they're very clear on the rules and what is required of them before the challenge starts. So the mental stamina to be successful in these challenges is tremendous, and we saw both Tiffany and Joe really perform when it mattered, and it definitely made a difference in their games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure, it's not easy. Play of the day for me is Joe picking Cirie and Rizzo to go eat some ribs.
I agree.
Yeah. Blunder of the day, not knowing how to spell inconceivable for Jonathan and Joe. Could have won it. But that was interesting to watch.
Well, and I think there have been enough immunity challenges where with the arch where you have to spell it correctly both sides, both in this season and in other seasons. They're both seasoned players. Why they didn't look at that? I mean,
I don't get it. And like if they're shown how to do it prior to actually doing it, I'm sure they said you got to make sure it's on both sides.
I get it, but still, I mean,
yeah. So that's what we got for episode 12, Inconceivable. We got Aubrey, Joe, Jonathan, Tiffany, and Rizzo left. Starting to talk about, making fire. Who's going to be the final 4? All that end game stuff. So that'll be fun to talk about next episode, and then get into the finale of the final vote, and all that fun stuff. So we want to thank you guys for joining us here on the Brady Breakdown as we talk Survivor season 50. It's been an epic season. Loved it so far. And we will catch you guys next time.
Bye, everyone.